Hey guys, welcome to the program. So, welcome to Inspiring Wellness. I am Julie House, thrilled to be here with you today. And today we are talking about your mental health and what you eat. So, I hope you will stick around. This is going to be a powerful topic. Food really does play a role in your mental health, it plays a role in your mood, and it is so important for just taking care of yourself. So I am excited to be here, excited to be live with you, and we are going to jump right in. This came about because a friend of mine asked me if I would sit down with her sister, who is a psychologist, and talk about this very topic, whether or not I thought food played a role in your mental health. And I absolutely do. I've studied this and I definitely do. And so I am very excited to kind of bring this to you and share with you the power behind what you eat and how it impacts your mood. So let's get right to it. So research might be a little bit inconclusive with regard to food actually causing mental health problems. Nothing really points to the fact that, certain foods actually cause the onset of depression or anxiety or other mental health disorders. But we definitely know and can definitely track and link conclusively, and it's very clear cut, that there are foods that will exacerbate those symptoms, and there are definitely foods that will eliminate or at least slow down or kind of stave off the onset of those mental health issues. So we know that your quote unquote diet, which is just what you eat, it's not going on a diet to lose weight. That's not what that word means. That word diet simply means what you eat. So we know what you eat, what makes up your diet. We know that it impacts your mental health, and what you eat can alleviate or agitate symptoms of mental health. So very, very important stuff. And I think for many of us, the issue is kind of that nagging. I know for me in my past, it's been that nagging depression, that nagging anxiety, that nagging frustration, just that sort of a cloud over my head. And I can't figure out what's going on, what's causing it, why I can't get it to lift. You've always heard exercise helps, and it definitely does, but sometimes it's still there. You can't shake it. You just can't shake it. And I want to share with you kind of the foods that enable it, and also the foods that will help alleviate it. All right, so let's get started. Let's dig right into this, because there's so much good information here. There's so much good stuff here. So it's no secret that fast food, we're going to start there. In the bigger picture, we're starting with trans fats, but it's no secret that fast food in and of itself isn't the best choice for a healthy diet, and that's where we find a lot of trans fats. And just to put this simply, what do trans fats do? Just real simply, they raise your bad cholesterol, they lower your good cholesterol, and that combination right there can build up in your arteries and cause heart attack, stroke, and other issues. So trans fats are very, very dangerous. And if your diet is high in trans fats, here's what it does to your mood. All right. It reduces something called the serotonin production. So that's the hormone that promotes good mood. It is kind of, they call it the feel good hormone, but a diet high in trans fats reduces the production of serotonin, and it increases inflammation in your body, which also we've been able to link to increase in depression. So that right there proves, this, if you are ingesting a lot of fatty foods, you're at risk for physical problems, but you are also at risk for mental health problems. Now, let me be clear here. Your diet doesn't have to be perfect. And typically, it's a few small tweaks. If you will make them, just a few small tweaks, you are able to really change things, really improve and drastically improve and decrease your risk for disease and improve your mood. But it's important to realize that a diet high in trans fats is very dangerous physically and mentally. So now, the next question everybody's asking, outside of fast foods, where are trans fats? Where are they? How do I eliminate them? Well, they're obviously in the fast foods, French fries, tater tots, deep fried foods, but also in some spreads that you might have in your house. I always get this question, what is better, a fat-free butter spray or it's not a butter spray, it's like a margarine spray or a low-fat margarine or real butter. Well, I'm going to tell you, always go with real in anything. Don't go with anything fake. The thing about eating real foods is that you can eat less of them, get the same flavor, get the same satisfaction. And, even though they might be higher in calories and fat, you're eating less of them and they are real. If it's manufactured, your body typically just doesn't know how to process it. It doesn't know what to do with it. So margarine spreads, vegetable oil spreads, even some peanut butter has those trans fats, hydrogenated oils, which are, basically partially hydrogenated oils are manufactured. That's what makes them dangerous. Your body doesn't know what to do with it if it's not natural. So we want to avoid those. Snack foods, we want to avoid snack foods like chips, crackers, and cookies. Not all, but some. If they're heavily processed, laundry list of ingredients, it's a mile long and you can't read them, chances are they have some trans fats in there and you want to try to avoid them. We talked about the fried foods, onion rings, chicken nuggets, fried chicken. One that's tough for me and I need to work on, non-dairy creamer. I love my coffee, and so this is a tough one for me, but an option there, just half and half, just a half and half, an almond milk creamer, but non-dairy creamer, very dangerous. So if you drink a lot of coffee, that's something you want to think about ridding yourself of. Pre-packaged and prepared cake frosting, trans fats, vegetable shortening, pie crust, pizza dough, anything that, again, manufactured, you are at risk of ingesting some trans fats there. Piece of cake every now and then, not gonna bother you. But eating this kind of stuff every single day, very dangerous for you physically, dangerous for your arteries, but dangerous for your mental health. Here's what I like to say here. This is where my heart goes out to the children, because I think of, the things that they eat and they're being fed and they don't have a say in it. As parents, as caregivers, we've got to be more intentional about what we're feeding our kiddos. We've got to get some of this stuff out of the house. We've got to. It's our duty. I'm not saying clean house and eliminate everything, but where you can, little by little, eliminate some of this and replace it with more natural, more whole foods that I'm going to share with you toward the end here. So stick around. Do it for your kiddos. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for the kids. Do it for the grandkids. The sooner they start, the easier it will be for them to implement this healthy lifestyle. You know how hard it is if you're trying to break these habits in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Let's not do that to them. Help them make healthier habits now. The key here in talking about you and your kids, eliminate where you can. Do it where you can. Use the real butter instead of the margarine, right? use, instead of the vegetable oil spreads, swap the chips out for the cauliflower crackers. We shared some of those with you the other day that we picked up at Aldi. This is another great little snack cracker. Triscuits, hint of sea salts. Look at this right there. 3 simple ingredients. 3 simple ingredients, and those ingredients are whole grain wheat, canola oil, sea salt. Done. That's it. That's all that are in these. 6 crackers, 120 calories. Remember the rule that I taught you last week, I think it was, whether or not, how to determine whether or not this is a macronutrient balanced food. Just check the label quickly. If it has more protein than sugar, that's a good indication that it's balanced. This one does. 3 grams of protein, 0 sugar. Very balanced, good crunch. Swap that out for those Cheez-Its or those chips or those pretzels even. Just things that are more heavily processed, we want to swap out for natural foods. Even simple tortilla chips are better more often than not than some of like the Doritos and Cheetos, because again, it's just a corn and maybe a safflower or sunflower oil. There's nothing else to it. So the less ingredients, the better, and definitely the less coloring. We want to get rid of those foods that have a lot of oranges and reds, that they're processed, not natural. Don't want to get rid of apples and oranges. You want to get rid of Doritos and Cheetos. Those are the things you want to get rid of, and avoid the fried foods where you can. So that's number 1, trans fats. That is the biggie that can really impact your mental health. And think about this. If it's impacting your mental health, it's impacting your children's mental health. We want to set them up for success. Secondly, refined sugars. If you did not watch our live stream, our episode of Inspiring Wellness about sugar, please go back and watch that. Look for that one, the dangers of sugar. It is as addicting as cocaine. That's what we learned. And the studies back this up. You can get withdrawal when you're trying to come off of sugar. It's very, very dangerous. But refined sugars have an absolute impact on your mental health. They are bad for your mental health. Sugary snacks, absolutely yes. You've given your kids sugar and you've watched them bounce off the walls, and then you've watched them crash 20 minutes later. It's true. But also, we now know that consuming added sugars regularly compromises your body's ability, your mind's ability to deal with stress. Again, think about this from the perspective of a child who has no idea what's going on in their little body and in their little mind. They now, not only are they bouncing off the walls and coming off of a sugar high, but they don't know how to deal with the stress of homework or being bullied at school or dealing with other situations. And you don't either. When you are consuming and overly consuming refined sugars, your body doesn't know how to deal and cope with stress. And a diet overloaded in refined sugars sets you up for a higher risk of depression. And again, I keep coming back to the kids. We've got to help them, set them up for success. We don't want to set them up for depression and anxiety. And we realize that just because it's such an addictive substance, it can be dangerous and hard to kick, but you can begin slowly, little by little. Cut out where it's obvious. Take away the soda. Start there. Take away the overly processed desserts and cookies one at a time. Avoid the added sweeteners where you can, and progress slowly, intentionally, little by little. That's absolutely how we move in this house. We just take it out little by little and little by little. When I ask everyone in the house, hey, what do you guys want from the grocery store? Nobody says anymore, we want cookies and we want Doritos. I don't hear that anymore. I hear, we want those granola bars that you picked up at Costco. We want those cauliflower crackers from Aldi. Swap it out for something healthier, and your family will appreciate it. What you feed them is what they are going to crave. And third, processed foods. Obviously, you hear this all the time. We want to rid ourselves of processed foods. Frozen dinners can be very dangerous. I know they make them healthier now, but they can be dangerous. Processed foods are bad for your physical health, but they definitely impact your mental health too, because they've been linked. All those processed ingredients, again, linked to inhibiting the production of things like serotonin in your brain to help you deal and cope with stress. And your body is unable to produce that the way it should. But also, processed foods do something else. Mainly probably because of their high sodium content, to make them last longer on the shelf and make them more shelf stable and make them last longer, make the ingredients that they're made with last longer. They cause inflammation in the body, specifically in the gut. So you know how you eat a high sodium frozen meal and all of a sudden you're all bloated and you can't figure out what's going on? Well, there it is. And again, this is compromising your serotonin production, because a lot of the serotonin is produced by your healthy gut. And because you're inhibiting that, and there's inflammation there, your body can't produce it. And we run the risk of increased depression and anxiety. So there you have it, the things that are causing potentially or contributing to this nagging cloud of depression that's over you right now. It has something to do with what you eat. If you find yourself saying, yeah, we've got all that in the house. We eat the Doritos at night. We've got the processed ice cream in the freezer, and we've got the snack crackers and the Cheez-Its. Those are the snacks and the foods that we are eating. That is having an impact on your mental health. So what should you do? What can you do? There is hope. I promise. There is hope. What should you be eating? Number one, your focus should be on whole foods anytime possible. At all possible, that should be the number one thing you think about. And what should I eat? What is whole? What is real? What is not processed? Obviously, it's the fruits and the vegetables, but we need a diet that is as nutrient dense as possible to not just make us physically healthy, but to make us mentally healthy. And a diet that is rich in whole foods like fruits and vegetables will decrease anxiety and depression in you and in your loved ones. If you have control over what is being served in your house, out of your kitchen, I think it's my duty as a mother and as a wife to provide foods that are nutrient dense. I need to set everybody up in this house with as much success as possible by what I have readily available in my house. It's up to me. It starts with me. If you're the one buying the groceries, if you're the one preparing the meals, it starts with you. It is your due diligence to provide foods that are nutrient dense for your family. Are you going to, get a kickback initially from them? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it will not last. It will not last. Trust me. They will feel good too. They will notice a difference in how they feel, the energy that they have. They will learn and begin to develop their taste buds to what you are serving. I say this all the time. I've already said it today. You crave what you eat. They will crave what you feed them. But whole foods help you, we know now, worry less, decrease tension, and you are more joyful. All of us. I think Emmy said that a couple of weeks ago. She alluded to this when we were talking about the cauliflower crackers. And she said, I just feel good knowing that I'm eating something that is good for me. We all do. Just the opposite is true too. I feel guilty after I have eaten something that I know that is not good for my body. It's not just about the number on the scale. It's about honoring these bodies. The Bible says glorify God with your body. Glorify God with your body. And that means by what you put in it too. Not just what you show by what you wear or where you go or what you physically do with your body, but what you put in your body matters. Glorify God with your body's whole foods. Think whole. Think whole. Fruits and vegetables, but also complex carbs. They are good for your mental health for several reasons. And I love this part because this is really fascinating for me. You know that they give you energy, right? Without the crash. Sugar gives you energy, but then you've got the crash after. Complex carbs won't do that. They'll give you that burst of energy, but it is a sustained energy as well. And they help support, obviously, your healthy body. But fiber, think about fiber. It's a complex carb and it is essential. We talked about that gut a little bit. Having fiber in your diet is essential for a healthy gut because your gut health is what controls the serotonin production in the body, right? So when you have a healthy gut, your body is more able and more apt to produce more serotonin. And when it's not healthy, then you are not producing it. 95% of the serotonin that is produced in your body is actually produced in your gut. You probably didn't know that. I didn't know that. So having a healthy gut is imperative to producing that serotonin. It's like a car. If you want it to run well, you've got to get the oil changed and you've got to have good tires. My husband taught me this. And you've got to take care of it if you want it to take care of you. The same is true with your body. And it starts on the inside. You can't just wash the outside and expect it to run for years and years and years. You got to change the oil. You've got to take care of all the fluids. And it's the same with your body. You've got to take care of the inside. Serotonin is that neurotransmitter that functions as your mood stabilizer. So it's important that your body is producing an adequate amount of serotonin. And complex carbs are the best for this. They boost your mental health, higher nutritional value than the simple carbs like the sugar. And anything, your brown rices, your good starchy vegetables like potatoes and sweet potatoes, those are great sources of complex carbohydrates. Root vegetables, very good sources of complex carbohydrates. They grow under the ground and they are really good for you. Leafy greens, again, versatile, packed with nutrients, essential for our brains. They have things like magnesium and folate, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and folate. Many women, when they are pregnant, are prescribed a supplement of folate. And folate produces dopamine, which is another neurotransmitter that makes you feel good. So you want a diet rich in folate, and you will naturally produce that dopamine that makes you feel better. And then, of course, vitamin D helps in the production of serotonin as well and boost your mood. You got to get those leafy greens into your diet. Lean proteins, another place where I learned something. I know we get amino acids from the proteins that we eat. You probably knew that as well. What I didn't know was that amino acids are included in the production of dopamine as well. So when there is an imbalance of dopamine in your brain, disorders like depression and schizophrenia or other addictions, it's kind of like it's fertile ground for those things to take root and take hold. So we need those amino acids to help us stave off those things. So I'm telling you, if you're tuning in right now and you have battled depression, depression and you have battled anxiety and you look around your kitchen and in your pantry and all you see are processed foods and all you're doing is running around so busy and your schedule is so chaotic that you're picking up fast food left and right, you can stop this right now by changing just a few things in what you will eat. Lean proteins help maintain serotonin levels. That too reduces your risk of mood disorders, and they are found in, red meat, chicken, fish, steak, eggs, Greek yogurt, nuts, easy to find, cheaper than eating out, quicker than eating out. I'm going to show you one of my favorite meals here, and it takes about 10 minutes to prepare. So a busy schedule isn't a good enough excuse to not take care of your body and to always run through the drive-thru. Some of the drive-thru lines these days are taking you longer than what it would take to come home and prepare meals that I'm about to share with you before we sign off here in just a second. And finally, good fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are vital for proper brain and nervous system functioning. So in other words, your brain can't function without good fatty acids. So if you're having one of those days where you can't even think straight, part of what's going on is probably what you are or are not putting into your body. What we now know too is that a deficiency in omega-3s can increase your risk. You've heard me say, I've alluded to this with every one of these. Eating the right foods can alleviate depression. Eating the wrong foods can promote depression. It's so important. This is so important for us to wake up and be aware of. But a deficiency in omega-3s can increase your risk of depression, bipolar disorder, ADHD. We see this in so many of our children, and schizophrenia. Where can I get a good amount of good omega-3 fatty acids? Fish, nuts, leafy greens, all those things we've already talked about. Simple to get into the house, inexpensive to get into the house, but vital to get into the house, right? Okay, so now what I want to show you, so the idea here is to get rid of those processed and trans fats and bring in the whole food. So I'm just going to take you through kind of what it might look like in a day for me, and where I'm really trying to focus. I'm not always as intentional as I should be about what I eat. But when I am, these are the things that I would want to have in my day. Good news is we've been through this for years. So these foods are in the house. These are the things that are on the grocery list when I make the grocery list now. They weren't always, but they are now. And I think they'd be great staples for you. The first one I'm going to show you is actually what we ate this morning for breakfast. And I made it for both my girls, and it was delicious. Emmy actually even asked for seconds on the eggs. I'm going to move this, but just an egg scramble. That lighting's kind of bad. But what is in that? Just one egg scrambled. We love onions and tomatoes here. What it's missing is probably a little bit of spinach. I should have put some spinach in there to get the good greens in there. But that's just one egg scrambled, sauteed with some onions and tomatoes, and a side of good fresh fruit. Oranges for vitamin C, berries for those good antioxidants. What you might be surprised to know is the calorie count in something like that is the whole thing less than 200 calories. For the egg alone, that's just one egg scrambled there. So that was 70 calories. The onion and tomato, nothing. The fruit there, maybe 100 calories total, but that's not even a whole orange. So less than 200 calories, full of protein, full of nutrients, full of good complex carbohydrates in those fruits right there. And I am getting a very good and balanced breakfast that will last. And again, I can feel good about eating. Lunch, I haven't had it yet. But I talk about these a lot. Normally I would slice the apple, but because I didn't want it to turn colors, I didn't do that. But what I have here are just some pinwheel wraps. And you might not be able to see inside there, but essentially that's just some good honey ham, nitrate-free honey ham. 2 ounces of that, which is about 5 to 7 slices. It's real thin honey ham. I just always recommend get that nitrate-free deli meat. A slice of cheese that is divided up actually between 4 of these. I've only got 2 on the plate, but there's 2 more over here. 4 of these. So I can actually have 4 pinwheels with ham and cheese and tomato and onion all wrapped up in just some nice Bibb lettuce. Not worried about the bread, eliminating the bread. I don't need it. It doesn't really do much for me nutritionally, and it just adds calories and, you know, maybe some simple carbs that I really don't want. So I'll have that. I've got some of those Triscuits on the plate too, a serving of those, the simple Triscuits, and I've got a little serving of my favorite PB Fit. So when I slice that apple, I'll dip that into the PB Fit. I might even spread some of that peanut butter on the Triscuits, and I have got a beautifully balanced lunch. Again, full of protein, good complex carbs, low in fat, but I am getting some good, healthy omega-3 fats there. And my PB Fit here, this is the big container that I tell everybody to pick up at Costco because it's like $12, $13. You're gonna get one that is about a third of the size of this at Kroger for like $9, $10. So you can't beat that. Again, can I look at it really quickly and say, is this macronutrient balanced? Well, it's got 8 grams of protein, 3 sugars. Yes, it is. A great staple for your home. And for dinner, I want to add that fish. You want to add fish a couple times a week. So what do I have here? I've got a nice little tilapia fillet, and I'm going to show you how I bought that and how I prepared it. This is butternut squash, and I've got some Brussels sprouts right there. Color, texture, flavor, nutrients. Now check this out. All total, again, less than 200 calories, and I'm not even joking. Maybe right around 200 calories. This tilapia fillet, 90 calories. The butternut squash, 50 calories. The Brussels sprouts, 35 calories. How quick was that I was able to prepare that? Well, this is how I bought the tilapia. So this tilapia is a 2-pound family pack. Why do I choose tilapia over salmon? Because I actually like salmon better because it's cheaper. That's really why. So I might buy salmon every now and then, but tilapia has, it's a great little fish. It's not very fishy. And so it's pretty bland, and I can flavor it the way I want to. I just add garlic, pepper, and salt. And it's got 20 grams of protein. 20 grams of protein. That is absolutely incredible. No sugar. Hugely balanced. Great source of omega-3s. What else I love is that these are individually packed, like freezer packed. So that if you do have someone in the house who doesn't like fish, not everybody has to eat fish. Take these out one at a time, prepare it for whoever wants it. 90 calories for one. There's 8 of these in a bag. So I always like to have these on hand. There's so many. You could sprinkle some Cajun seasoning on there. There's lemon pepper. There's so many different ways you can flavor that up. The butternut squash for me is already flavorful enough. Sometimes I will bake the Brussels sprouts, but check this out. Again, both of these came from Aldi. And if you're in a hurry and you're a busy mama, and I know a lot of you are, both of these are steamables. So you don't pierce the bag, nothing. Just throw it in the microwave for about 5 minutes, and there you have it. 35 calories a serving, 50 calories a serving, full of great nutrients and benefits. So there you have it, a very balanced day. It's not about, it's always more about the quantity or the quality over the quantity, because I get a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, it's, that's not a lot of calories. I look at your MyFitnessPal and I looked at that day and that wasn't a lot of calories. Maybe not, but it filled me up and it was full of nutrients. I can eat a whole lot of calories by not eating a whole lot of food. I could probably consume the same amount of calories, which is almost a day's worth for me, in about 2 or 3 candy bars. So it's always quality over quantity. And what would I eat for a snack throughout the day? These have become a huge fave in our house. I love these. The chewy protein bars from Kirkland. They're not quite as expensive as a lot of the other protein bars, so I can grab these and not spend a whole lot of money. I think they come like 42 to a box for about $12, something like that. I can't really remember, but very good. I love that. Got to have something chocolate in the middle of the afternoon, and that is a good find for me. So there you go. Foods that are rich in complex carbohydrates, fiber, protein, they will alleviate and help manage mild depression and anxiety and help stave off more serious mental health problems. So make sure you take notes, come back and watch this again, and begin to rid your home of some of the things that are not just dangerous for your physical health, but for your mental health too. Your health matters to God, and it matters in your kingdom purpose. That'll do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode